in the dry season, you can look across. I've caught tetra in there that I have pictures of on my phone that are that nobody could identify in some of the just tetra groups, and a lot of subspecies. Like with the vivipara, it's the vivipara. I know I'm rolling my R's. I can't help it. It's the only way I've said it. Because it's kind of like a guppy, I guess. It's supposed to just be in the mangrove. It's the cutest little fish, and they have like it's like an endler kind of. It's from that family, right? And every different body of water, they have a different appearance. They're never the same. I mean, it really is amazing. It amazes me. Like we could go down. If you were here, right? Let's just say you're here. That would be cool, by the way. And we went down to down the place down the road, which is I'm right in front on the beach, right? And it's a mangrove forest. And on part of it, where it's just mostly fresh water until the tide comes in, they are just brown, ugly fish. Nothing to look at. And then if we went to the stream, they are gorgeous, gorgeous. And then, like, if we went on a real river, which was hours from here, these viviparas are the most beautiful tropical fish I've ever seen. They almost looked like a guppy. They had such long fins, and they were right on the outlet where going into the ocean. And this was, a big river. And my buddy and I, Wayne Wright, I need to mention his name. He's the most knowledgeable fish keeper I've ever met. He's bred, guaranteed, neons and everything else. He was a professional breeder. He's taken out some of the biggest mines. He lives in the Amazon, out into the jungle. And he came here. And he really got me going. I needed something after commercial fishing for that long. I needed something an outlet. And we just started driving around, going from body of water to body of water, checking out all these different fish. It was incredible. He was more into the plants. He knows every Latin name he could say. He's amazing. It's kind of like going to school for a day, going to a university, spending a day with him. That's the first thing. I had to learn his language. And honestly, I didn't understand him for like at least 6 hours. He had such a thick accent. He speaks English. He speaks Portuguese well, too.
Cool.
Yeah, he has no fear whatsoever.
Yeah, sounds like quite a weird adventure. We've just had a question again from Dennis. What country and river, and don't reply if it can get you in trouble?
I don't know. All I know is Brazil. I don't know. Brazil can get you in trouble if you don't. My neighbor was the boss of the IBAMA, which is the wild fishing game. So as far as that part, that helps me. You really need a special license for pretty much everywhere you go. Then again, this is Brazil, and all the third world countries. What you can get away with is amazing if you know the right people. Like if you were to go to Colombia, I'm just guessing, and you knew a Colombian that lived in the area, and he was into fish. And these guys are just as knowledgeable about fish as you and I and a lot of people watching. They just speak another language, They would take you to places and be able to get away with it. Now, if you were just to go alone, then you're putting your life at risk in all these third world Latin countries. Yeah. No doubt. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Back to your fish of the day thing that you produce. How do you gather your information for each species, and how long does that whole process take for you to do?
Well, depending on the species. If I know the species well, then it doesn't take that long. I guess the lengthy part is reading the information. I get it from seriallyfish.com is my favorite. They see, because I'm looking for a. Did I say it right?
I think it's seriously fish. I think I know one. Yeah.
Because I want to know about the habitat. That's like the first thing that I need to know. Because if they're in Peru or something like that. They could be in the Peruvian mountains. The water's colder there. The Amazon, the water's warmer than it is here. My aquarium water is 85 degrees now, whatever that is in Celsius. I don't know about. So that's what I want to know first. I mean, I'll read the whole article, but that's like the most important thing, and that's usually what I post in my fish of the day is about that.
Yeah,
that's something I always try to touch on without not lagging on it too much, because I just mentioned what kind of breeders they are. I used to put in how they bred and all that stuff, but you'll lose the people's attention because it's my overview that I really want them. Well, I don't want them to read. My overview is basically, if people are wondering, it's where I say my opinion about the fish. Why do I like it? Why did I choose the fish? And, you know, how would I keep the fish if it was me? And of course, I'm looking for, it's a conversation starter. And so that's that right there only takes me 15 minutes, but I'm a writer, so, and I'm creative. I paint paintings and stuff like that. So it doesn't take me that long. It takes me less than an hour to do fish of the day.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I would have imagined it would have taken a heck of a lot longer than that. So.
Oh no, I have some bits that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that people will. I have my feelers out, right, and they'll send me a photograph or a name, and I have to go and watch videos and stuff about them, and you know, those are the fish that I'm most interested in, of course, and they might only get 1 or 2 likes, and it's nice to get likes, but that's not why I do it. You want to get a like, put a platy in there, put a Eldorado. You know, that's what I'll do is I'll go like every 3 fish, I'll put in something common that everybody can identify with.
Yeah. I just had another question, but as I coughed, I must have just coughed it out of my brain because it's time. Apologies to everybody. I've been wearing a pretty nasty cough for the last 10 or so days. So if you see me just muting my side and coughing away, that's what's going on. So apologies on that. We're
rattling off. I've been wanting to talk about fish for a while. Trust me. This is great for me. Again, about the going to find the fish. You would think it would be in the crystal pure streams and the ponds where the most species are. But that would be completely wrong, at least here in Natal. I'm in Natal, which is Natal, Natal, right? It's the streams that go right through the middle of the city, the most polluted ones, the ones that smell, the ones that you wouldn't step in, but the locals are all swimming in. You know, you're thinking, man, I hope I don't step on some glass or something like that. And you just got to kind of like go for it. Take 2 showers when you get home to get the smell off at times. And that's where you're going to find the most species of fish and the most plants too, because it has the ammonia, the nitrates, feeding the plants. And then I'll go to another place that's I have a piece of property that's right in the country, and they have a stream going by there, and not even see a fish. And so it's really the opposite. Another thing is I've stepped in water that's over 100 degrees. What's that, like 40 Celsius, right? I've stepped in water 40 Celsius to catch fish, and they're still alive. They're still alive. Wow. They're alive and thriving. In fact, out back, I used to have, when we had a house, I had container ponds with filtration, just plants, filled with all these plants that we collected. It's quite fun, actually. That's why I can't wait to get to our house. It's under lease right now, and there's someone there. And the water hit 110 degrees, and I was like, "There's no way that a fish can live through this." We were right in the heat of the summer, like it is right now, right? And I went and looked. A couple of days went by, and I was expecting to see some floaters. They're having babies.
Wow,
it was amazing. I mean, they use it. And a lot of things I see about the goldfish. We know when we used to post, would let through a post about goldfish, African frogs, you know, like bettas in a small container. Like we knew there was going to be trouble. We had like a list, right? And goldfish with a heater, people would freak out. We have goldfish and I'm not saying it's a thing to do, but here, all I can tell you is what I see, and I'm not a big goldfish guy. The last goldfish I had was when I won it at the fair, right? And the water temperature in the pet shops, because they're on ground, I'm up 3 levels, well actually 4, is 90 degrees. So let's see, 90 degrees would be that's like 37, 36.
Getting up there, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hot. That's very hot. And they told me it gets to 90 degrees. And I'm like, well, how are the goldfish? And they were just, we never have any problem. They were surprised I even asked.
Yeah, wow.
So I would never comment that in a post because I would get crucified.
Yeah.
I'm out dry, basically, because of, and maybe they don't live as I don't know.
Do you think it's an adaptation thing, or do you think there's enough oxygen around for them to continue to soldier on, or how do you think it's kind of come about?
I've thought a lot about that, and not about the goldfish, about the fish that, because I'm not a big goldfish guy, but about the fish that can handle this heat. It had to be an adapting thing, because I would say that the water never gets colder than 70 degrees. The ocean temperature is 85 degrees year round, never changes, even in the winter here. Because I'm pretty close to the equator. I'm like 1,000 miles, what's that, like 1,400 kilometers or whatever, from the equator. And they have to do that for adapting. I've seen fish in a horse hoof hole I collected. And to say that water was hot would be an understatement. Because the evaporation's so quick. I mean, I have my aquarium here, which is nothing much to look at, by the way. I told my son, I said, I have to have an aquarium in the background. But it evaporates an inch in 3 days. I have to. An inch is how many centimeters? I should know this stuff by now after all this time here. But
it's about 2.5, I think.
Yeah. No,
2.5, 3, something like that.
Is it 10 centimeters? It's an inch?
No, it's small than that.
Yeah. So anyway, it evaporates that much. We can just use fingers.
What's in the aquarium that you've got behind you?
Oh, I don't have anything that I caught here except for the plants. Yeah. I have the neons. It's an old aquarium. I don't know if you can see it well. Yeah, I guess so. Right there we go. I have neons and cardinals, rather. And I have one very lonely white mountain minnow, which shouldn't be here, right? That they had. And I have some rummy nose. And I have the Eldolf Coriolis, which I love. That was the dream fish right there.
Beautiful fish.
When I was a kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine. I bought them for, I could talk about prices here. So I bought those fish for 35 reals. $1 equals 5 reals. So I bought those fish for like $3.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
Which equates to around about $15 New Zealand, and they're, I think we're selling for between $30 and $35 each year. I think.
Yeah, I think they were $50 in the United States. I remember looking them up on Google, and they are just everything I was hoping. They really are.
They're a cool fish, huh?
Yeah, and I'm just letting them grow out, and I'm hoping they breed in this aquarium. I'm gonna go get 10 of those viviparas from. That's what I'm gonna put in with them and let them breed. Because I showed the pet shop, which they didn't know they existed here. And this is a mom and pop pet shop. They know everything. They know all the fish. I mean, there's nothing, you can't show them anything. And I started showing them stuff that I'm collecting here. Right. And they were just, they were awestruck. And I said, they're peaceful and they're beautiful. And he said, yeah, they're beautiful. And so I'm going to bring them. I figured I'd breed them and bring some in there. See if I can change my goal is to change the hobby in a way. I don't care if my name's on it, is to like help it. I think the biggest problem in our hobby, besides for inbreeding, is like not getting fish from an area like this, because we have stuff that's so different. Yeah, it's a shame, really. And I don't want to go clean out a place. I mean, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of tetras. And you can't. And when they have babies, they all go in the very shoal water, just about this deep, on lily pads. It's thousands of them. One time I went down there with a small net, knowing that we just had the rainy season. Oh, that is something I'd really like to talk about, the rainy season, what that does.
Cool.
And I just scooped up a net full and put them in my hospital tank to see what I get. I had pike cichlids that you'd never seen. I had the tetra that I was talking about, tetras, and the viviparas, and just all kinds of fish, wolf cichlids. I wish Wayne was here next to me, but I probably wouldn't be able to get a word in edgewise. He's got the gift of gab, that guy, and he'd be saying all the Latin names. I know him. And so when the rain season hits, and the same thing happens in the Amazon. If people want to breed fish, like that guy was talking, what was it, Dave, the last time, they've got to remember about the rainy season here. I mean, when it rains, whole neighborhoods get buried.
Wow.
All the water rushes in new food. It changes the pH, because rain is like 5.5 at pH, right? It makes the water more clear. Or no, actually, it would make it more tinted because of the foliage that gets rushed into the streams and the lakes. The stream, that's when it becomes a river. Then it looks like a river.
Yeah.
I have to let my dog in, or he's gonna just keep scratching. It makes his way through.
Do what you got to do.
Okay.
Hope everybody is enjoying this. I'm very much captivated with this conversation. John and myself are having a quick little private chat in another section, and I know that he is absolutely being captivated by this as well. So, phenomenal times. Some very cool things being told and learned, and some nice stories happening. So, if you are enjoying it, please give it the old like, and if you haven't yet, give us your follow and all that kind of ziggy. Yes, Rochelle, I did enjoy the concert. It was phenomenal, and we're back. Cool.
Yeah, in the rainy season, I was talking about that. Another thing, that the flow of the water changes. There's more. The current is stronger. I think all these things would help me to breed my fish, knowing this stuff. And now I'm not, like, I haven't done anything like this guy's done, but I am planning on doing some of this stuff when I get my fish room. And this is all stuff that I've taken, noticed. How could you not?
Yeah.
Stream I'm talking about, it's only, I could walk there from here.
I was just going to ask, how close are you to a lot of these waterways that you visit? If it's walking distance, it's pretty close.
We could drive around all day looking for one, unless we know exactly where one is. But the nearest one, the stream that I was talking about, is only probably it's like 3 miles, which whatever that is in kilometers.
5.5 kilometers or 6 kilometers, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So I could get there in the car in 5 minutes.
Yeah, nice and close.
With traffic, and then pull off, and then wondering, what am I doing? Number one, it's one of the most dangerous neighborhoods. Well, I live in a pretty dangerous neighborhood, but this one wins. And I mean, I could come up to a body or something, to be honest with you. I walked my dog and walked up to a body. You guys don't know how good you have it, really. I mean, I love this place. I love it, truly. I know everybody. 15,000 people live in my neighborhood, and nice. I don't know them all by name, but I know a lot of them, and my dog, and I speak Portuguese pretty well. I have an accent, pretty thick accent, American accent, but I speak Portuguese pretty well after that many years of speaking it, and talking with everyone is just. I noticed a guy has discus down the road.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to talk about fish with him. I need some fish friends. That's what we need.
Do you, speaking of discus, someone has asked a question in the chat regarding discus. Do you see them? Are they about in the waterways, or are they in different areas?
I haven't come up to any discus, any Corydoras. I haven't come up to. I collected a pleco so far south that we're almost in, what is it, Uruguay, the next country over, in a stream hanging in a river on a waterfall that was huge. And we were plucking the plecos, and they were hanging there. So I would definitely say that plecos, for the most part, need a lot of current, or some of them. There's just so many of them. For all I know, is plucking a completely new species off. It gets so cold there, it almost snows.
Wow.
So
they're very. Some of those plecos are very, very tolerant to all sorts of water conditions.
Amazing, really is.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they can do. I think, I did a post one time about fish that can non-heater fish for aquariums, and the list is extensive. I noticed that most of the fish are either from Florida or they're from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
The mountains there.
Yeah.
Bolivia is another one. It's very mountainy there. This is just flat desert where I am. In fact, if I drove inland, I would say an hour, if that. It would just be cactuses. The cactuses take the places of the trees.
Sure.
And those body of waters, those have killifish that people wouldn't even dream about. And my buddy there, Wayne, and I, we've been talking about hitting some of these places. We just haven't hit the time right. Because during the rainy season, it's hard to collect fish. Because the water comes up. It's like right now, if I went to the stream where it's really low, and I imagine the same things in the Amazon, that's when they collect all the fish, because they're saving the fish, really.
Yeah.
Because the place is going to dry out.
So when, obviously, the rainy season comes and it's an extensive amount of water coming through, how dramatic does that change? Like, I've got a vision in my mind that we're kind of talking to like a stream that's maybe half a foot deep sort of thing. Rainy season comes along and it's just like this torrential river that's 10 foot and just rapidly flowing. Is it much like that, is what I'm thinking?
Yeah, you could still get in it.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. And it might get 10 times bigger than it is, if not more.
Yeah, wow.
Take over houses. Like flooding that they show on TV or on the videos now. That happens, and then the fish get spread out everywhere. And some of the lower lying places, it just completely floods, and all those fish end up in swimming pools and you name it. And they're there. I've found frogs, completely aquatic frogs, in a swimming pool. Shouldn't have even been there because it had flooded out.
Yeah. Is there people where you are that collect fish for a job to like export, or is that not a thing in your region?
It's not a thing here, but they have the fish farm in Recife and Fortaleza. They have fish farms there, but we don't have direct flights that go to the United States. We don't have direct flights that go to the United States and from Natal. But I would say Recife is what it's like. I think it's 4 hours away, and Fortaleza is a 8 hour drive. So those places are quite a way. So it would be hard to collect fish here and sell them to anybody else than the fish shops.
Yeah. Is there much of a aquarium hobby where you in the region that you are, or is there few and far between?
There's a lot of pour shops in the poor areas, and then there's very few very nice shops that actually have saltwater fish, and one mom and pop shop that I only go to. It's about 40 minutes from here. So when I go to the pet shop, it's like I wouldn't say it's a major ordeal, but I have to think about traffic and stuff like that.
Yeah, bit of an event.
Yeah, and all the plants there are all plants that I've collected here. There's someone collecting plants for him.
Yeah,
to get him through that.
Yeah,
and then they just put them. People are buying plants. I bet you there. I don't know. I know there isn't for fish, but I bet there are for plants.
Mm.
Yeah, that makes sense because
Yeah.
I'm seeing plants that we have here all the time.
Does make sense. Is there a strong club presence where you are, or is that not a thing?
A strong what?
Like fish club or aquarium club type of scene over there, or is that not really a thing?
No, it's mostly towards São Paulo, St. Paulo, and I keep saying these names in Portuguese, not on purpose. St. Paulo, maybe in Recife, maybe Fortaleza. I think probably more Fortaleza because they're bigger. And my buddy, he went where they have fish farms. I would think that they're probably more into it.
Mm-hmm.
Or here, I don't know. This bigger. I mean, without getting into Brazil and the economy here, it's a bigger division. There's really not that many mid-class. It's either you're really poor or you're really rich. You know.
Yeah.
I'm a mid-class. Oh, one thing I was just thinking about that tetra. So I got this bright yellow tetra, and I noticed it was over at the stream here. It's the only place I found it. And I noticed that it was super aggressive in the stream. It basically had, excuse me, I don't have coffee. I don't even drink coffee. I have water, so I'm faking it. My dad used to. He passed away a little more than 2 years ago. This would be about the size of a coffee mug you'd have. You have to stay hydrated here. But you know how like in Lake Lake Malawi, they have a male fish will have an area of about 6 feet round. So this tetra had that area. I didn't really think about it. So I got a bunch of females which look completely different than the males. Completely. In fact, I'm not even sure they're the same species, but I've thought a lot about it since then. I think they are. And so I got a bunch of females, and I put the male in there, and every fish was on the corner of the aquarium. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. and so it's that's the tetra that's never been identified.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I want to get identified.
Yeah. Had a couple of quick comments from the chat. We'll just go through it. Okay. There we go. Can you do outside filterless tanks and just have the rainwater to do water changes year round?
Here? No, I had to, when I had not fish tanks, fish tank will turn green. The water will, which isn't bad for the fish, by the way.
No.
It's not a bad thing for the fish, but you're going to have to add water unless it rains all the time. And as far as without a filter, it's amazing what plants will do. Plants, you load the top of it and have a little, use a hose to have so you can see what's going on down there. The water's crystal clear, has absolutely no scent at all. I mean, you could drink it. It's so clean. You don't want to overpopulate. And I would prefer to have a filter, but it was more of like an experiment. It seems like most of the hobby has been an experiment until the internet popped up. I'm sure the same thing was with you, right? Can this fish go with that fish? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of So if you wanted to breed like platies outside, and you lived in the States or in wherever, and you have a reasonable temperature in the summer, that would be something you could do. You could do guppies. I bred guppies outside. The water would go from like 70 to 100 and 110, and the guppies have no effect at all on the guppies. I mean, I wouldn't go and do that. I'm just saying what I could do. It would be nothing I would write or bring it up in the group. But since we're on we're talking at coffee. I've had platies in 100-degree water. They bred like rabbits, really, and in a little 50-gallon plastic tub that was covered with plants. Had some of the most beautiful plants. They were all flowered out. What's it, hyacinths with the purple flowers? So gorgeous in the morning.
Yeah.
and the roots. And most of the top portion of the container needs to be a big container, mind you. Is just roots that go down, and I never cut the roots unless it was taking the fish place. And like I said, I'd have that hole so it can make it to the surface. And we have to have fish in our water here because we have so many. We have dengue fever, or dengue, I think is what it is in English. Chikungunya. We have yellow fever. We have all kinds of mosquito diseases. So we can't do a fishless cycle unless you put a screen on it. And trying to find mosquito screening here is really difficult. I mean, we kind of like live in like Fred Flintstone kind of houses, you know, where the windows are just open because it's so hot, you know. I mean, they're much prettier, mind you, but you know, they're the window's just open here. It never closes unless it rains, and it hardly ever rains. I can't remember. I think it rained a couple of days ago. Before that, it was like a month.
Wow. Oh, it's a long time. We've had another comment from the chat. Zena said, I don't know, the creepy things that live in the water in places like the Amazon kind of freak me out. Maybe if I could collect from the boat or other stable surfaces. I think that is referencing to obviously what's in the water and what can't be seen and all the things that you've gone out and collected and stuff like that. So
yeah, I have thought about snakes, but I really have no fear of that. And the snakes are small here, not small.
Snakes are small.
So I think I'm more scared of like stepping on something and cutting my foot. Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not in the Amazon. I could see where that would definitely be different. I mean, we are far from the Amazon. I think it's a 4-hour flight to get to the Amazon, to Manaus. So that would definitely, this is a completely different animal here. This is not like the Amazon. And that's what my buddies talked about over and over again.
Yeah. I guess I had a wee vision, maybe not quite Amazon, but of a similar type vibe when it comes to that, and it feels more, I'm going to use the reference of where I live, more sort of Nelson type of vibe, a little bit more quieter, a little bit more relaxed in the waterways, so to speak. We don't have anything cool in our water, but it kind of gets that big city type thing to a littler city type of vibe, big river, little river sort of thing.
Yeah, when we go into the interior of the state, well, then we can bring the phones out and all that stuff, and it's much more laid back.
Yeah.
Although it's odd because that's when people warn us the most, when we're out of the city. But you know, they stop and say, "Be careful! You know, someone might pull up to you."
Yeah.
And we just thinking to ourselves, "You don't know where we've been," and so we're more worried about that. And I've never seen a snake. I've been looking. I've been wanting to see one. Honestly, I mean, I would love that.
Yeah.
I love animals. I love reptiles, and I would love to be able to. We have a lizard down here. I know this is kind of getting off fish, but it's a small lizard, and it's bright blue. I've never seen one before, and I'm just wondering if, you know, they're on the beach. They live on the beach. They run. You know how like on a beach you have the beach, and then you have a bunch of beach grass. And dunes and stuff like that. They run up and down the dunes in the morning. They're stunning. They're only about this long, probably. And, I'm like, man, nobody knows about these. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
No one's coming here. Shut up.
Do you have many people asking to come over and go sort of exploring for fish with you over where you are, or is that not something that's kind of really?
But it might happen after this.
Might do.
A lot of people aren't watching this now, but I imagine when they get out of work, they'll probably watch it. I shared the link a lot, but that would be great. That would be great. But I mean, I think they'd have to sign a waiver. But I'd take Brazilians with me. I would definitely take a Brazilian with me if we were doing that.
Yeah.
I'd take a crew with us.
Have you been exploring any other South American countries or waterways for fish, or just kind of where you're at? Yeah.
Yeah, just this is where I'm at, this state. It makes me makes me a little sad that I didn't look in. I grew up in Maine, and I didn't look at some of the minnows closer. Now, see, all these people, they want to have an aquarium, but they don't have the money for the fish. They're expensive, right? And, I'm thinking to myself, they could just go to the bait shop and get some of these minnows are stunning. I don't know how many write-ups I've done on minnows. There's one in Canada that I can't seem to find again, and it was bright purple, And so, I mean, for all you know, because people always want what they can't have.
Yeah.
That is it. That's what the whole hobby is about. Just because I'm talking about the fish here that probably nobody has. I mean, there are viviparas in the United States, but they're just brown, and there's no beauty to them whatsoever. Just because I've talked about this, all of a sudden everybody's going to want to do whatever they can. I don't think it's always about that. I think it's about it's not about impressing your friends so much. It's about, for me, watching fish is a peaceful thing. I don't even watch TV. I lay here, I write my stuff, I write my books, and look at my aquarium. I have another aquarium that I'm going to get, and put this on the bottom for my piranha. If I keep him that long, see how he hasn't had a growth spur. So I have to grow him out. I have to.
You've got him now. You've got to work out what it's going to do.
On this far, I've gone this far. I have to now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Obviously, you've been in the aquarium industry for quite some time, and you've written a lot of articles with your fish of the day. How many of them have you previously kept? Is there quite a substantial amount, or?
Yeah,
quite
a few. I mean, for a hobbyist, even though because when I was in the lobster industry, you get up in the morning at like 4:30 or whatever, and then you come home at about 4:30. So there's plenty of time to do your fish thing.
Yeah.
So, but when I was on sword fishing boats, and I only did 2 trips, there were like 6 weeks and 10 weeks, and I didn't have fish at that particular time. But I was where I only go to mom and pop fish shops. I hate what the big chain stores have done to the mom and pop industries, and when you're attached to them, they'll like say you get sick of a particular fish, and you're like, I want to go a different direction, but I don't want to have an aquarium in every wall. My wife would not put up with that, I don't think. And and then I just would grab the fish and do a trade, have them bring something in that I'd never had before. At all the Africans, I'm trying to get some shellies here, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I wrote an article about the mom and pop pet shop, how we need to support them. We need to go drive that extra half an hour, have that first name relationship with them. It just is so beneficial to the hobby, and it's beneficial to them, and that they're doing that because they have most of them anyway. Someone inherited the business from their dad and whatever, but most of them are doing that because of the love of the hobby, because they have a passion for it, and they're just as interested in a new fish as you are. So I would pay that extra money to support.
Yeah, that's quite a powerful comment, and you're very right. Most people that run their own aquarium store are because they've started as hobbyists, and they've gone, I want to pursue this as a career. I want to pursue the hobby. I want to help whatever element of it is. And when you're 100%, it's not. There will be some, but a vast majority of people that own fish shops, they're not business people to start with. You pick it up along the way, but the vast majority are fish keepers first, business owners second.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted a pet shop. It's been my dream, but I mean, you're not going to meet a mom and pop owned business that are rich. Very rarely. I mean, my one buddy is the only guy I knew that have known that has made any kind of money in the industry. And I doubt it was from his fish shop. I think it was more from taking these people and stuff like that out into the Amazon, because he speaks the language and translates and knows the hobby, and he's much better at the names in Portuguese as well. everyone has their strengths. That's definitely good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned your son before. Does he have a passion for aquariums as well?
No, that was kind of disappointing. Although I didn't like drive. I was hoping maybe after I die, but I was hoping that it would be a father and son thing like I had with my dad. But we have so much in common and do so many other things that, like that was it with my dad. I mean, we didn't have any relationship at all, and it was just that was it. That's all we had. We did go fishing a couple times, but aside of that, we had nothing in common, or maybe we had too much in common.
Sorry, excuse me.
That's okay. Did you catch a cold?
It's just a cough. It's just this nasty cough that won't leave here.
Everybody was catching a virus here last week. I caught it. I was really sick.
Yeah, my young fella bought something home probably about 2 weeks ago, and it's just gone through the house. It's been nothing but a cough, everyday life, no dramas, just a pretty stubborn cough.
There's like 15,000 people in one neighborhood. It just spreads like wildfire because everyone's so close. You know, they're so much closer here.
Yeah,
you know, everybody hugs, and they used to kiss each other on both cheeks, but after COVID, that kind of destroyed that.
Yeah. I'm well aware that you're a writer or a novelist, and you've said before that during this our time together that writing is one of your big things, your big passions. How has that influenced what you do with your Fish of the Day stuff?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's why it's so easy. I'm able to put it together in my head, the beginning and the end. I don't want to make it repetitive, repeating the same things over and over again. It's tough when you're talking about another species of tetra, so I try to pull out something different. It's a major influence. And I have dyslexia too, which is amazing that I'm able to write it all.
Wow.
I did horrible in school. Horrible.
Yeah. Wow. That is quite phenomenal. My daughter and my wife are both have dyslexia as well, and so I understand to an extent what it's like for them to have to go through those stuff. So the fact that you have the ability to produce these articles and what you produce, that's quite phenomenal.
I have bad days too still. I mean, where even driving can be a tough thing for me.
Yeah, wow.
Because I'm thinking backwards. But the thing is, Portuguese is backwards. Like you would say White House in English, and in Portuguese it would be Casa Branca. So it would be house white. So in a way that kind of helped me.
Yeah.
And then I was getting over the obstacle. I wrote my first book, getting over the obstacle of that. And I kept seeing, as I would correct it over and over again, I bet I corrected that book 2,000 times, where I would do things wrong. And then this second book that I put out, I had a professional editor do it. And I saw what she fixed. And that's helping me edit the Fish of the Day right now.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And the AI does, it's like having, not an editor. I don't want the AI to do much to it. I already have the words, but I want it to make sure that everything is, that it's not, to correct the punctuation and not scribble.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have ADD too. I have all the letters.
Is there any plans in the future to produce a book related to fish, or is that not?
Yes. Yeah. I just think that people put too much thought into. Not that thought is a bad thing. How am I going to say this right without getting a lot of backlash? It's not rocket science. The plants are weeds. As long as you have a good light. I think here's a couple of things that I see with the newer hobbyists, and you can please add to this. I think they overclean their aquarium once too much. Overclean it. Like I have algae growing on my I'm okay with that. A little bit of algae is good for the fish. Another thing that I always write about in my comments when I see a cycled just go down. Because it's not a mature aquarium, is I always have 2 filters, and I never clean both filters at once. Only clean one filter, so I have the beneficial bacteria in one, and the other. And another thing, I wanted to try to help people that don't have a lot of money, because the hobby is getting so expensive now, and let them know that there's fish in their area, and they just have to go see the wild fishing game, and probably it's just just getting their license and going out and getting them, and bringing them home. They'll be 10 times more hardy. They don't need they're not going to need a heater, than a fish from the Amazon, and they'll be cheap, and they're still fun to watch, and they shoal. They don't really school, but I'm sure there's fish that school really tight. How do you think the hobby is as strong as I think the hobby in Brazil is huge as far as sending and exporting fish, which, by the way, I tried to get a license to do, and there was just no way I could do it because of Florida. Now, I would have to, I don't know how big the fish farm is, or I should say the fish farms over in Fortaleza and all these other places, but they just fly there. All these fish that you guys are getting usually come in from Manaus or Fortaleza or from the bigger cities. They're just outside the city, and they can get to the airport in no time at all, and they go overnight to the United States or wherever you're at, wherever people are watching. And then they go to one particular place, and then they keep them for a while, and then they, and this is how I'm guessing, where I haven't dealt with this stuff. They keep them for a while, and then they send them off. The autos, even I have problems with the autos, the little catfish, this big.
Yep.
Even I, because of the starvation thing, even I have problems with.
That's a huge issue with them. I think that is the issue that the vast majority of people have with them, is feeding them and getting enough food into them.
They're not feeding them. I'm guessing that they're not feeding them on the way. They probably go to like 2 or 3 different places before you even get them.
Yeah. So
by then they're starving.
Yeah, speaking to one of the importers here in New Zealand, basically they said when they know they're getting a shipment of ottos coming in, they set up massive algae farms for them, and then as soon as they get in, they're just power feeding them as much slimy green goodness they can get into them, and that really helps bring the condition back in again. So that's a massive issue with them.
I have this tiny pleco, a plecostomus. 2 of them I bought 6 or 5, and they only get about this big. And I forgot to ask the guy the scientific name. When I get back in there, I'll WhatsApp him. He's asking me to identify fish, which is something that I love to do. It's like a game to me, to ID a fish. It's one of my favorites, and especially if if I have to ID a fish, then I've never seen them before. Because if I've seen them before, then I know the direction to go in, and then this one's obviously related to some type of pencil fish. To get the scientific name. It's completely red. It's gorgeous. I think I have a write-up on them. I just haven't gone through. It's 320 write-ups. It takes a while to go through them.
Do you take, or do you consider taking any of your own photos for your articles or anything like that, or is that something you're sort of delving into?
Yeah, my photos stink.
I feel you.
And I have a nice phone too. It's 5G and everything, and when I got it, I was like, man, this thing's gonna take the best phones. The best pictures ever, because it has this little thing that comes up. I was like this thing. And I was like, oh man, when I get this to the site, I'm gonna take the best pictures, and it was. So it's nothing compared to some. What's this? Christopher, I think it's Christopher, the German guy there, takes the best pictures ever. I love it if he came down, and I would have to have like a security team around him with that equipment. That's another thing, is you can't take stuff like that with you. I'm even worried about taking that cell phone I usually take
Wow.
and I want to take pictures on site. I don't want to bring every fish home that I see. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I had a little aquarium that Wayne built me. He builds aquariums, and it was about this big. And I don't know where it went. I have an idea if someone broke it and didn't tell me. And I have the pet shop making me up another one so I can bring it with me. And then just put spring water in it. You know, it's not going to hurt the fish just temporarily. Throw the fish in there, take a picture, 5 pictures, and then put the fish back in as quick as you can and put the phone away.
Yeah. There is an art to taking photos of fish, whether it's underwater, whether it's in an aquarium, whether it's in a net, it doesn't matter. There is an absolute art to taking photos
Let me know what it is.
Not photogenic.
You're not the guy?
No.
Neither am I. I do a video and hope they stop. It seems like fish are like, oh, he's got a camera. It's time to really move around. It amazes me. Even on site, well, they're scared. I think the next time I'll go, I'll bring like a leaf with me, cut to the exact size, and so maybe they'll feel like they're safer or something, and do it that way.
Yeah. I think must be something about the lens or something reflects. No, I'm out of here. Don't want to borrow it.
Yeah, and like I said, you just can't bring a camera like it's a $5,000 camera or whatever with you, unless you have a whole team with you. And I don't have a team. It's either me and my son, he's 6'8", I'm 6'4", 6'5", and maybe a Brazilian guy, or just him, my son.
Yeah,
it just means we're a bigger target.
Pretty much.
But all I have to do is tell them the name of my neighborhood.
Yeah. Do you collect hardscape as well when you're out and about?
Do I do what?
Do you collect any hardscape, rocks and wood and stuff when you're about?
No, I collect all my driftwood from while I'm walking with the dog in the morning. Anything that's dried out is good.
Yeah.
Anything that's wet and moist and still has some life to it. If it's been sun baked, it's good to put in your aquarium. And if it's not, you need to identify it. And I don't know the trees here like I know in the United States, and so I don't put anything in my aquarium unless it's been. I have a tree. I wait. I look at branches and I'm like, that one's coming down pretty soon. That's going to end up in my aquarium. But I will go down there and get some when I get my new aquarium, which will probably be about a 75 gallon. I don't know what that is, and I know it's the same.
About 300.
Yeah, 300 liters. That's what I'm looking for. Right? Not real tall, wide and deep. Not deep, but wide and long. And something that's going to go across this wall. This sofa is going to go over there. And right now the house is a mess. I wouldn't show this to anybody. My wife would kill me. Brazilian women are a little different. You invited someone to the house. You get in trouble. Yeah. So
have you considered setting up like a biotope or something similar to from the little river that you collect from?
Well, that's what I think this is. My aquarium looks exactly like that river. The only thing that's missing is the trash. That really, if you were going to go walk through the river, it's sand like that with a bunch the only thing that's missing is dead foliage. But there's enough water going through that you don't have the black tank thing going with the current. But that is exactly what it looks. I know I just have a couple of sponge filters and a power head. That's all I use. The plants do fine. So that's exactly what it looks like. I have pictures on my Facebook. I'll post a bunch today if people go to it. And it's John. You can put it in your link.
You'll get if John can if you could please link to the other John's Facebook page, that'd be cool, mate. Do you think the hobby is as strong of an industry in Brazil, or is it not really a strong industry?
It's not as strong as it is in the United States.
Yeah.
Especially after the pandemic. Everybody has fish. Most people would get really mad when they see the size of an aquarium that they would put their fish in.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen angelfish in a 5-gallon aquarium, very small, way too small. I don't even really like angelfish, to be honest with you. I like the autumns, but I don't. They for the most part, they don't really seem to be people in the city. It's city people. As far as that, if you get outside the city, there are people that breed fish and sell to the pet shops here as a side business.
Yeah.
They love it, and then if you get like in the Brazilian group, I've never met people that know more. Brazilian fish group that I'm in. I've never met a bunch of people that know more about fish than that group, to be honest with you. I mean, except for probably you. I mean, I don't know a lot. And someone like Wayne and some of these other people, we have a biologist that lives about 2 hours away in a beach called Pipa. And, he's incredible to talk to. Spoke with him for an hour at the federal police and never even had an idea he was in the fish. And all of a sudden it came out. I forget how. Oh, I told him I caught a piranha in Natal. He was like, and his wife knows all about fish too. And they were like, "You mean you caught a pacu?" I'm like, "No, it's a piranha." And he looked at me and he just started smiling. He's like, "I'm a biologist." You trying to pull over on me, right? I was in my class, and before he knew it, I had the picture out and showing him. He was like, "That is a piranha." In Natal, and I was like, "Yeah." And I've caught 2 in 2 years. That's how many I've caught out of all the times I've gone. Although I have had some health setbacks with I've had heart issues and arrhythmia, and that kind of put me on my back for a while. But I'm feeling really strong now.
How often do you go out looking for fish?
I'm going to go out this weekend. When Wayne's here, we go out daily. We'll spend 2 weeks going out every day, going different directions, trying to find different places. He drives me without doubt. He pushes me more, but I'm always happy after I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
there is that element of going to a strange place that you don't know about, and I don't walk here with fear, but I walk here with what's the word I'm looking for? Reverence. I know what could happen. I know, and you got to be street smart.
Yeah, I'm envisioning like some sort of an exhibition. That's not the word I'm looking for. Expedition. There we go. Like a bit of a 4-wheel drive truck packed up with a whole bunch of fish, so a whole bunch of gear, walk, tents, overnight sort of stuff. Am I envisioning something totally different, or you just go for a wee stroll up a stream and then take a wee turn up another stream?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. This is nothing like that. We could go from a stream to the next body of water, and it could be a half-an-hour drive.
Yeah.
Unless we're working that one stream.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these ponds and lakes that I haven't hit yet that I want to hit.
Yeah. More of a day trip.
Yeah. I mean, I found a lot of fish that aren't supposed to be here. Columbia tetras, which aren't supposed to be here. Someone obviously let them go. Like I said, the mosquitoes are a big problem here. So you can't have a body of water. You got to put something in there. Columbia tetras are pretty resilient, to say the least. Another fish that I don't think I've done a write-up on because I'm not really crazy about fin nippers unless they. You ever notice the tetras always have that size, that face when they bite fins compared to the aquadynamic? And that doesn't always go, but for the most part, if you see a tetra like a black skirt tetra or something like that, more than likely you don't want to put a better in with them, with long fins, or a guppy, a fancy guppy, where like the neons and the cardinals, they call them neons here. I've never actually seen a neon tetra here. All the places have the cardinals.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed with people we've spoken to. Neons. Yeah, the cardinal tetras are often called blue neons overseas, and we defer neons, cardinals, green neons, black neons are all different, but they're all often sort of lumped very similarly together.
Oh, another thing I was just thinking about as we were talking, I was thinking about the temperature thing again. I don't think that people keep their aquariums warm enough, especially with neons. I was always losing neons in the United States, even cardinals, you know. And then finally, I started keeping and this is in the States. I started jacking my temperature up to, the low 80s, and I stopped losing fish. That was it. Because I asked Wayne, I said, "What's the difference between the water there and the water here?" He's the only person I really know well. That he said, "Well, the first thing is the streams and the rivers and all that stuff are warmer, outside of the pH difference. The pH here is a little higher than 6, maybe 6.5." And I'm like, "Really? Warmer than the water here?" I was having trouble to even imagine that. So people are getting these fish and they're putting in like 75-degree water. I just think it's, unless they're from Colombia or not Colombia, but Peru or a mountainy place, and that, I don't know if that's a good idea. I would keep it at least 80. My opinion. That's all I can do.
Yeah, well, Silver Creek backs that up a little bit. I was wondering the same thing. Used to lose lots of neons, then started running the water temperature between 82 and 84, and haven't had any losses since.
Yeah.
So that would kind of back that up a little bit.
To me, like the magic temperature, I guess, really, to be honest with you, is 84.
Yeah.
That's where African cichlids breed. That's when you're going to get I never lose fish, really, unless I go get an auto. They live a full life, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not checking the water perimeters constantly. One thing I found with the planted aquariums, they're just so much easier to keep.
I'm trying to do the maths on Fahrenheit to Celsius in my head.
Yeah,
that's
I can do it on my phone.
That's one that's one I can't.
No, I can do it on my phone.
I can work through, but that one's definitely not one still yet.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
How many Celsius is 84 Fahrenheit?
84 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 28.889 degrees Celsius.
29 Celsius.
Cool. And so that goes against pretty much the general consensus when it comes to neons, which keep them a lot cooler in the 23, 24 realm.
I think they're completely wrong about that, but I in my opinion, I think that they're completely wrong about that. Yeah. Knowing that they come right from the Amazon, where my buddy's saying that he's swimming with them, and the water temperature is way warmer, So I think that's kind of cold on the cold side. But you keep yours warmer, right?
I keep mine at around about 25.
What do Dave kept them at? You'd be the guy to ask.
Yeah, I will ask that, and I will try and get back to people.
Yeah, because he is definitely has way more knowledge about that than I do. Yeah, especially keeping neons now.
He's got a lot of information in that head of his.
That was good.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, this is great. And the live fluid thing, I don't really do that.
No,
I'm hoping there's no live food in my aquarium. That means I got mosquito larvae.
That's true. This is just a totally improv question that has just popped up then. What is the supplies like when it comes to hardware and feeding and all that kind of stuff over there? Is it fairly easy to come by, or is it very limited?
You mean like aquariums and
like filters and heaters and foods and water conditioners and all that kind of stuff?
The water conditioners and the filters are good, but they're I would say they're pricey. But where I've been out of the States for close to 11 years, I don't know the prices anymore, and they don't give me them on Google. The aquariums, almost all of them are homemade like this. You buy an aquarium that's shipped from the United States or wherever, China, wherever they ship them from, they are super expensive, like really expensive. But this at the mom and pop fish shop, I know his aquariums are more expensive, but they look so much better. Just I'll pay the extra money to have a beautiful. I want my aquarium to look as good as it looks inside. And to me, it looks, because I like that natural scape. That's what I'm drawn to. I see these beautiful aquariums, and they got grass in them, and they're in there cutting with the scissors, and I think to myself, wow, that is so gorgeous. I wonder if there's any place that looks like that in the wild, and not to knock them. I would love to have an aquarium that looks like that, but I would have to have more than just, if I'm going to have one aquarium, it's going to look like this.
Yeah, I've got a massive respect for the people that do that aquascaping and that manicuring. That is an incredible art, and they are very good at what they do. It's just not what I really want to be looking at when I'm setting up an aquarium.
Gluing the twigs together, and I mean, I watch videos. I'd rather watch a video about that and just think about it.
Mind-blowing some of the talent.
And this mom and pop place could probably get me that stuff if I wanted it. And maybe I'll do it someday. I'm more interested in doing a blackwater aquarium where the fish can just breed, living off the microorganisms that are coming from the leaves.
Yeah, that's well and truly up my alley. That sort of setup. That's more my thing.
If you have like that in your that's your only aquarium in the house, and people don't know about fish, and they're going to come in, they're going to say, "Man,
where's the dirty
aquariums very often?" Does he?
Yeah. I'm not allowed one of them in my house. I'm not allowed to set up any more dirty aquariums in my lounge.
A hobby lover, a fish lover, to understand that aquarium and see the love and to love them like you and I do.
Yeah. Do you have a particular favorite blackwater fish species?
Well, they're all blackwater species if they come from the Amazon, right? Pretty much. These new these gouramis, these mouth-breeding gouramis, not the speckled one, but the what's it? The nanochromis. I think it was nano. I got the name right here. I do. I just had looked it up. I have a lot of favorite species because I've been planning this blackwater aquarium forever, right?
I understand my favorite fish changes.
Daily, right? Yeah. I'm just thinking of what my favorite was in this last week. Oh, it might be like something like a betta. I've been wanting, so I've been planning this fish room, right? It's kind of, I'll come up with whoever's asked that question in a second. I've been planning this fish room, and I don't know which direction to go, and I don't know whether to do fish that are from here, because fish that are from here people don't care about because they're from here, because everybody wants what they can't have, right? And or whether to go with Africans, because the tap water is pretty high actually, and I can get Africans. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, this one is. It's I'm gonna beat this name up. Yeah, it's a Paros Pherominas Linky, and it's a gourami. It's PAROSPHROMENUS. And for those who just tuned in, the only people I talk in English with is my mom and my son. That's it. My day is Portuguese. So a lot of this stuff is just, I'm not talking shop. Once in a while, Wayne and I talk on the phone.
So Helen has come up with the licorice gourami.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a micro-lysis gourami, Lycerus gourami. It's the smaller one, because there's a bunch of that species. I think there's 8 of those species. I mean, there's a lot of that particular species that can get mixed together, and this one is very shy and stays hidden in the back, and needs a water pH. Well, what they said, and what a lady that I talked to was like 4, 5, even 6. So I'd have to get some kind of RO water, reverse osmosis. I don't know where. I haven't priced anything like that. I just haven't got far enough. First, I'll start with the fish room. I'll get the plumbing in there, and the electrical work, and then I'll start pricing a RO, because I'm not going to get that anywhere.
Not long ago, some licorice gourami came into New Zealand. Very, very pretty fish. I can absolutely understand why you are interested in them, and they're your current favorite fish, because they are.
And then mouth brooders, so that gives me the false a false sense that I can actually breed them because I bred a fish, other mouth brooders, right? Cichlids, right? Which is probably completely false. You know, I mean, I probably don't stand a chance, but you never know until you try it. But I think
if you don't try.
If you emulate their habitat, you can breed the fish. You know,
Give them what they want.
You give them what they want, and they'll breed. And just do. Now, I don't know a lot about where they're from and stuff like that and their habitat, but I guarantee they have a rainy season. You know, so if you can do what's here, you know, and it doesn't rain here for a month sometimes. I remember going out one time because I knew everybody was coming in from the interior. They needed water. We had a massive rainstorm, and I was out there in the rain dancing. I was so happy. That's how we can go months without rain.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
that's mind blowing. I think it only rained like 3 or 4 days ago here, quite heavily.
What? How many Celsius is 95 degrees? My wife just came through the door.
5?
Yeah, that's what it is in my living room right now. I think that's like 30. My wife knows better than I do. Just came in. 32 Celsius in my living room right now when I'm talking. I was going to show up in one of my shirts that I wear around here.
You can keep that. That's all yours. I'm okay sitting in the, I don't know, early 20s. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but that's wrong. The thing is that what happens is you have the thermal mass, right? So we have so many buildings here. I'll show you downstairs. I mean, I can take it from here to there.
I'm saying up here.
Oh, up here? It's 84 degrees in our living room. So this is my view. This right here is a netting to keep the animals in. And all these buildings, they have a thermal mass, and the heat just generates, and so it will stay hot until about probably 2 o'clock in the morning. We were gonna buy an air conditioner, but scared of the bill, to be honest with you. I really am.
Have you considered doing a plant of the day series as well as your fish of the day?
I don't know. I see the plant question. I don't know enough about plants to do it.
Yeah.
Well, how this came about, because Wayne knows all about plants. I was like, why don't you write a book? Couldn't understand Wayne. And then I was like, okay, I know about fish, and I like studying fish, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't do it justice because I'm not that plant guy. I always had Africans, and now I can't handle the aggressive nature of them. I really can't.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, my best African, I bred African cichlids back in the 90s. My best aquarium was I had 2 dominant males, and they had it was like a 75-gallon aquarium, and they had the aquarium divided in 2, and I just packed it full of females.
Yeah.
And I was just giving the pet shop a lot of fish doing that.
Yeah.
And that to me was good enough. They just flared, and then they go back to, they show themselves. And I can't handle personally, I'm not into the packed aquariums that these guys do with, they're just not, that's not what I know I've seen the videos in Lake Malawi. I see them together and stuff, but they're not that together. And when they start rubbing on the rocks and stuff, I mean, you can tell they're agitated. Where I like to emulate the habitat of every fish, to me, I can't do it. And it's not because I was a commercial fisherman. So it's not like it's not like I'm crying about the fish or something like that. Although there definitely is I was able to divide my living going commercial fishing, and these fish in my house are completely different to me. They're not my livelihood. They're my buddies. You know, I name them sometimes. I haven't in a while. But I don't have a centerpiece fish because I want to put I want to breed the vivipars.
Are African cichlids easy to get hold of where you are, or are they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They weren't before. They are now. In fact, they even have the from the other lake there. What's it? Tanganyika.
Tanganyika.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't said that word in a while.
Cool. All right. So I believe that we might be getting close to the end of our questions that we've got.
What's that question there? Like, was it a long life shared love of fish? Yes, it was. Yeah. Ever since I was 6 years old, I guess.
Yeah. So did your dad continue to keep fish when you moved out?
No, he moved on to his next thing.
Yeah.
When we moved from Massachusetts to Maine, and for him that was it for aquariums. And shortly, a year after that, I had moved out and was commercial fishing, doing a man's job at like 17 years old. And I had my own place and started getting my own aquariums. And first thing I did was he told me I couldn't have an Oscar because I needed too big of an aquarium. And that was the first fish I think I bought. I bought a couple of Oscars. Kept them for a long time. I lived for a long time.
Yeah. What's, other than you've mentioned keeping angelfish in like 20-liter tanks, what's some of the differences between the way fish are kept where you are to what you've noticed in the USA?
I just don't know enough people to keep fish that I'm living in this neighborhood that's not rich. And so I don't know. Honey, mas pode fechar a porta os gatos não vai sair. E pega essa aí, esse bicho. Porque ela vai pular acima. Sorry. My wife opened the door and all the cats are coming out. They're going to have a party. Yeah. It's like an ark in here. I never wanted 4 cats in my life. But you get a kitten out of the trash, it changes you, you know?
I bet.
What was I saying? Oh, the people here, they go with the artificial stuff. It's like they don't even know what's in their backyard. Or they go to the place and they buy live plants. But they're buying the live plants that they could just go into the river and grab. You know? And the people in the South, well, they're spending some money. They have saltwater aquariums and stuff. The South side of Natal is the ritzy side. And so they have a lot of, they keep their fish well. And but I don't know anybody with an aquarium, so I wouldn't be able to tell you for sure without making something up. And that's something I won't do, except for the neon thing, my neon theory.
Yeah. It's an interesting theory. It's one I may tinker around with because I've always been a believer that.
Yeah, I think anything from the Amazon needs water.
Yeah, it does make logical sense. But Amazon's pretty big, and there's all sorts of different little nooks and crannies, and yeah.
Yeah, but until you get up to like over towards the west, if it's the Brazilian Amazon, it's all level ground and it's all the same temperature.
Yeah.
And it's all hot. In fact, I remember watching the show, when they try to survive in the wild and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And they had gone to one place in Peru or whatever, or maybe it was Colombia, and did well. And they brought them back to the Amazon to see if they could survive another week. And I think it was Naked and Afraid or whatever. I don't remember. And when they went into Brazil, it was just completely different because of the heat. Yeah, it's just so hot here. And everybody I've talked to that's been in Manaus, which is right in the middle of the Amazon over there, all tell me the same thing, how hot it is. They all complain about that. When my buddy comes here, he says it's cold. He'd be cold in 90 degrees. We keep our boxes, we use gravity feed for our showers and stuff. So we keep our water boxes on the top of our roofs, even in this apartment complex. It's like a condominium is what they call it, but it's really not a condominium to me. And the water is warm enough so you can take a shower and, it feels refreshing, but it's still not hot. What I hear about Manaus is the water's hot coming down.
Right.
And I've asked Wayne what because he had a pet shop, he got rid of it there. And he told me the same thing. It was up in the high 90s over there with those fish. In fact, there's a lot of fish you can't keep there because of that. A lot of killifish can't handle that. Many killifish can't deal with that heat. Although he told me that they could deal with this heat, but they can't because he's bred like every killifish that I ever show him. Yeah.
You're saying before that killies are about, and you've seen them around, different ones that would never been sort of seen recovered before. How many killies quite prominent where you are?
I don't know. I see the action on the surface, but we haven't stopped and tried to scoop them up. I don't know what we have. That's half the excitement for me. You know, where I'm not commercial fishing anymore, trying to catch lobsters. I'm going to go try to catch a killifish that I've never seen before, that I can't show anybody.
Killies aren't a species that I've spent basically any time with. I've looked at the pictures on Google and I've spoken to a few people that keep and breed them, and like I can see where the pull is. But when you begin digging a little bit deeper into what they are, there are so many different variants of them around. It's incredible. And the way they've evolved to be able to produce the way they produce is mind-blowing. Yeah.
I don't know if you're subscribed to Fish in the News, but it seems like every month they have a bunch of killifish that they just found.
Yeah.
And they're everywhere. They're probably at your location. And people just don't. They're annuals. They call them cloudfish here. Peixe de nuvem. Because they, I think it's nuvem, because it's been said that it rained fish, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there, it starts raining and they came back again?
Yeah, fish were landing everywhere. That's what I heard. I don't know. I hear a lot of tales.
Yeah.
Things that you would be like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and I've heard stuff about frogs too. I don't know what to think anymore. You got to take it with a grain until I see fish coming out of the air.
Yeah, that makes sense. Take it with a grain of salt.
It would make sense in a way that during the evaporation, I'm kind of thinking out loud right now. During the evaporation period, that the clouds could collect these light eggs and scatter them in other places, and that's how they get around to a place that's never had fish before. I wonder about it. I don't know. It's an interesting theory.
It is an interesting theory. I'm not sure how I can subscribe to that per se.
I mean, I don't even know. Do eggs really get taken up into the clouds? You know, I mean, I don't know enough about any one species because I do them all. You know, I'm thinking about them all. Yeah. And I only have 3 different species here in my aquarium right now. Yeah. I don't have a fish room. Last time I had a fish room was in the 90s. Then I was so busy on the boats that again, like I said, I could only keep up with 3 or 4 aquariums, and a lot of them were Africans. I did salt water for 2 years. That was interesting. It's something that I don't really care about anymore. I want them to do it so bad, and then where you can't breed them or they're hard to breed. I mean, you can breed a few of them, the clownfish and some of the other ones, but I love breeding fish. I really do. That's why that Dave guy, like I said, he's living my dream. And a lot of people are probably thinking, "Oh, John's living my dream," you know.
Yeah,
we'll never have it all.
No, absolutely not.
In this hobby, it's just too big and it's too plentiful with stuff to do. And
we have like you. We've got like an allowed list of what can come into the country and what can't, and everyone complains that there's not enough fish that you can't have and blah 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 blah. But like, if you really sit down and look at the amount of fish that are available, and if you were to set up even if you set up a community aquarium, keep maybe 3 or 4 species in each aquarium, you're still looking at hundreds and hundreds of aquariums full of fish. There's plenty here.
You could just have wall-to-wall aquariums, stacking them up. I mean, look at a pet shop. Look what they do. And like yesterday, I'm going in and they're keeping Malawis with swordtails and everything else. I mean, they just mix them together, and I'm thinking, man, the pH is off. And like stuff because I'm old school, right? And I'm thinking, oh, what's going on with the pH?
Something's not right here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even bother asking him anymore about it. Because I don't.
So, grand plans with your fish room that you're looking in, hopefully having in the future. How's that developing? Are you concentrating on specific sort of fish, areas of the world, or are you just gonna, this looks cool, I want it?
I'm gonna get what's on the list, so they don't break the door down. I really want to do Shelley's. So I guess Shelley's and Wild Better are first on the list for my fish room. But I want to have a couple of aquariums designated to the fish just in the area, just out of pure curiosity how they get along together, stuff like that. I think I like the Wild Betters. The smaller the fish, the better for me. What is it, the Hendricks? Is it the Hendricks better? Love that fish. Just some of these small betters that are about an inch long. To me, like a 15-gallon aquarium is the perfect size aquarium for me if I was going to breed. I don't want to be tied down here because I might have to go to the United States. My mom's getting older, and I might have to go there to take care of her if she got sick or whatever. And so I'm not even sure how many aquariums I would keep in my fish room. One thing that's a big problem, I'm sure the same thing is with you, is when I leave and no one's there to take care of my aquarium except someone that doesn't know, and I've just left a list of directions, I come back and I'm missing half my fish. I lost a whole aquarium filled with beautiful cherry shrimp. Oh, that one hurt.
Yeah,
and you can't say anything. You can't complain. You can't, because they would they're not just taking care of that, they're taking care of the dog, they're taking care of it. So
probably thought they were doing everything right.
It does tie you down. Like if you, I don't know how many aquariums you have, or I don't know enough about you, but if you were to come in, which would be awesome, by the way, to have you come here and we go out collecting fish, who's going to take care of your fish tanks? You'd have to like set that all up, and it's a pain.
So I'm sitting on currently just under 200 aquariums in the shop, in the building. I have a part-time staff member that comes in for about 12 hours a week, and the rest is all on me. So I don't go away very often.
Yeah, so you're all set. I mean, at least you have I can't say I'd have if I had a fish room, I wouldn't have a staff. So I'd probably focus on the little egg scatters that I can get easily. Because even though I've talked about these shell dwellers here and some of the other fish, and I'm not getting any response. I've yet to see one in an aquarium. I've seen Tropheus, but they need like a 75-gallon aquarium minimum and I'm pretty sure I could breed those easily. They're worth the money, but I'm not really into it for the money. I don't do fish of the day for the money. When I have my fish room, it will just be for my own enjoyment. I have other things I write. I should know.
You've mentioned Shelleys a couple of times. Is there any specific species of Shelleys that you're really interested in, or just them as a general?
I wish there was just a way I could like have big photos and stuff. But yeah, there's a fish I just did recently. John Hansen's fish.
The world's greatest water changer. I don't know if I'm the world's greatest water changer. I just spend a lot of time with my hands, my armpits wet. I can tell you that.
Have you ever got sick from changing water? I was working on a mom and pop fish shop on the side in the early 2000s, and I had a cut from lobstering, and this one right here. And I ended up what do they call it? Blood poisoning. There's a big long name for it, and ended up in the hospital for 4 days because of it, because of the aquarium water.
I don't believe I've been sick from anything fish related.
Yeah,
but I may or may not have. I have definitely heard of people that have gotten sick from various things, doing water changes, dealing with fish, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he
was getting older, and his aquariums were some of them were pretty dirty. He wasn't keeping them up like he used to. And, it's a Neo. Lampro.
Neolamprologus.
It's and the last one is Calliurus. What's that? Calliurus. It's embarrassing. I mean, but who am I going to talk to about this fish here with anyone other than you? I can show you a picture. Maybe you'll see it. Maybe you can see it. They're gorgeous, actually. They're like, to me, they're the bigger ones.
Yeah, I don't think, just from the photo that you're showing, I don't think we've got those ones here.
No, I don't. I know they don't have them here.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous. And they have a big mouth. They kind of look like a betta.
Yeah.
More of the mouth brooder bettas. Yeah. And male can't fit in the shell, and the female stays in the shell. So he must be pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
He must just hang around above the shell and don't get near him, especially when they have the fry.
Yeah, we've got Brevis, the Aussies, and there's another one that the name is eluding me, which isn't overly common.
I had the Aussies.
Yeah, I've got a group.
I know the names right away. I had the Aussies, and I had the prettier ones with the what are they, like, almost like a blue tint to them.
Yeah, little purple peel on the edge.
I was breeding those. This is 40 years ago, or 30 years ago, and boy, time flies, huh? And I would love to get those. I don't see them in any of the places. The only thing I'm worried about is when I give them to the pet shop, are they going to be able to keep? Because that lake really has. They fish are much more sensitive to a high pH. They need a high pH. Yeah.
I've had my group has spawned several times. Unfortunately, I moved 20 or so juvies fry from their spawning tank into a grow out tank late last week. And over the course of the last 4 or 5 days, they've all just gone belly up and haven't enjoyed their transition. So, that's quite frustrating, but that is what it is. So I've got.
And their water perimeters. This is when I'd have to get the kit out. Need to be pristine at all times.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it might be because the spawning tank they're in is full of coral substrate, aragonite substrate. And the tank that I put them into is just a pure glass box just to grow them out. And I think there might have been too much of a swing in that short period of time. Which is
probably. I wonder if you did the drip method in the transferring them. Drip probably might have been.
Yeah, possibly.
There's a lot of that in this hobby.
Yeah, I moved 8 or 9 different species of fry over on the same day into different tanks, and no other ones had any issues, just them. So. It is what it is. It's unfortunate, and we'll just try again next time.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool.
I did learn for the first time when moving them that they have the ability to dive into the substrate. I've never seen them literally dive straight under the sand and completely hide themselves in the substrate.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, what on earth is going on here? And then I watched more of them do it. I was like, this is obviously a defense mechanism for them. They can dive into the sand and stay hidden for a little bit.
I think that you need to comment that on my Facebook, because that's the kind of comments I want to hear from people with experience with particular fish.
Yeah.
To make that little fish of the day better than something you might get from Google. Yeah. With actual experiences from people that, so that we're not fighting, we're helping each other with, I've seen mine go into the substrate, some stuff like that is just
So I genuinely thought that I'd got all of them. I took all the shells out of the tank, put them in a container of water so no more fish came out of them, and I genuinely thought that I got all of the fry out of that tank. And there's about 10 or so still in there. So they were hiding underneath the substrate when I was trying to catch them. There was no way there was any other fish in there but the adult.
What are you using for a substrate?
It's just it's like an aragonite coral type.
Oh, okay. I know the stuff. Yeah, I've used it. I think a lot of fish do that. We don't even realize it because, how many times have people been like, has anybody ever lost, their so-and-so fish? Because I haven't seen, and then all of a sudden the fish show up. And I think that, especially in the sand, like I have. I've lost an apistogramma one time for a week, and he just showed up. I'm like, where have you been?
Yeah, I hear that quite often as well with the pistos.
Yeah.
They'll just find a tiny little nook or a little wedge
they
between something, and they are good. They're good for ages.
They're also big time jumpers, and I've had people disagree with me about that. But I watched one jump out of my aquarium, land on the floor, and the cat had him like it was like a seagull, just ate it. I'm like, no, I'm jumping. So I have trouble keeping them in the aquarium. I don't have a lid on my aquarium. So
Yeah, I didn't know they were jumpers.
for me, they were, but I mean, everybody's got a different story, and that's what we have to realize about this industry or this hobby, that everybody seems to have a different experience. There is no real rule. Because like an epistogramma that you might have, the same species, Agassices, I think, or something like that. Say we both have Agassices, and but maybe mine's wilder. Maybe mine's like an F2 or an F3. I mean, and yours has been because obviously yours wouldn't be wild. Yours has been bred in the aquariums more, and so they would stay in the. I would think. I mean, I do a lot of theorizing in my life because I'm alone. I love bouncing these ideas off of each other. Sometimes I forget we're even like. To me, it's.
I can assure you I enjoy this sort of thing as well, significantly. Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure that of all the people that are watching right now, I'm pretty sure all of them are in the same boat as you, listening about aquariums, learning, talking. Hey, I have noticed that. I haven't noticed that. I think this might have worked for me. I think everybody here is very much in the same boat.
I've only seen one really fancy Agassices here. The rest are they look like they just came out of the wild. So for all I know, they're wild fish. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how hard they are to catch.
Something I don't want to say struggle with, but something I encounter on a very much a day-to-day basis, because I deal with the public and running a fish shop, and that's kind of part and parcel of it, is your knowledge to my knowledge to someone else's knowledge to Google's knowledge. It's so broad, and like you said, there's no right or wrong answer.
There's a lot of what we know is not.
Yeah,
and like the goldfish here, for all I know, you put a goldfish in 100-degree water in the United States, it would die instantly. Here, they can live in water at that temperature. So what's going on there? I mean, if I told someone, that the goldfish, which I would never do, the goldfish are not fine to be in 90-degree water. For all I know, I'm killing their fish. But here, they live and they thrive in that kind of water. So, I mean, the first thing I see when I go into a fish shop is goldfish that are in 85, 90-degree water, and which is the temperature of my living room right now.
Yeah. The other thing is how much of this is changing the longevity of the fish we're keeping as well.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Like we that's something that just can't be. There's no way that we can prove or not prove that. Basically, that
there isn't. I've heard that stated, and people argue about that particular topic a lot. I saw that as an admin. Right now, I'm an admin in fish keeping beginners and experts. It's a small group. I'm just trying to help him get it going. I don't know. I'll probably stay there for a while. I just don't want to make it like my top priority, like the other time I did it. And move you down there. Yeah. So there's no way to prove that unless you're a biologist and that's what you're studying.
You've got to do a proper longitude test of setting up 10 different tanks, lots of controls. We're only doing, and there's no precision way of proving that this works. This hasn't worked. This has produced longevity. This has produced bigger. It just is what it is. And this genetics play a part, catch points, how long they've been bred. There's so many variables that make it so hard to prove anything. All we can do is just the best that we can do for the animals that we're keeping.
Would be a great comment in one of these threads where the people are just want to kill each other. That we don't really know. And I could get something from Google that says one thing, and you could completely go against me with another write-up. And another thing is, like, these people that are doing Google write-ups, they're just like you and I. I mean, my write-ups could end up on Google. Are you going to believe me? I'm just a guy that loves the hobby and that ended up being blessed to go to a place where the fish come from. I can just give you my opinion and study as much as I can and try to like hit a couple of I go to Maidenhead a lot for the write-ups and to see what they say. They're a little bit more to the point, and but they don't talk as much about the habitat. One thing I would like to do, and it would be great to have a gig to write up for do write-ups for one of these breeders in the United States. I've thought about that. I never really wanted to. I mean, it'd be nice to make money doing something I love. Right?
Yeah.
Where I'm writing books anyways, and that would be a fun one. But yeah, we just don't know.
Yeah.
There's something, and there's no way that you've had every fish in the hobby, even with 20 aquariums.
And for all you know, that keeping this fish with this fish,
which was completely against everything that we learned.
Yeah,
right?
makes them live longer or act differently or shorter, or they just won't work. Like, there's so many variables. It's just not funny.
You remember, like, what was it, 20 years ago when someone would keep a African cichlid with a Central American cichlid? I mean, that they would, and still, they're the old school people but they do it all the time. And they seem to work pretty well. I mean, honestly, I like keeping the same species from the same area together, but it's just because that's the way I was raised by my dad.
Yeah, that's my preference. I try to, the best I can, biotype stuff as much as possible. I find it really hard. I've never set up a community aquarium as what people would consider a community.
Yeah.
Neons, guppies, swordtails, that kind of. I've never ever done that. One day I will, but it's always been, for the best part, regional specific. Always kept Malawis with Malawis and that sort of scenario.
Yeah, it's always been the way. Yeah. I had a pearl gourami in this 40-gallon breeder next to me. I couldn't handle it. Well, number one, it was chasing the other fish during supper time or dinner time or whatever. And I feed my fish once a day, if anyone's wondering. And then I fast him for a day every once in a while. But I just couldn't handle it because he wasn't from. It's went against everything that was ingrained in me. And I went to try to go get an epistogramma or something else. Then I just decided to go with the fish that I'm going to get from the beaver powers that I've mentioned probably 5 or 6 times now. I'm really excited about doing that. My family is all excited about going to this beach house, and I'm thinking, I can't. They don't. My wife's in the other room too. All I'm thinking about is, well, the beach house is great. I'm not really crazy about the beach. I was a commercial fisherman for 32 years, so I'm thinking about there's a little stream there that I can go get a bunch of little fish from, and I want to go check out the fish there. That's really near our house that we're going to rent. Yeah. And so that's where my head is.
Back to like your comment about having your pearl gourami in your tank. I can't quite remember who it was, but someone that we've previously had on basically said that fish from different regions of the world talk a different language. Yeah. And like when I've seen people that are keeping fish from different regions of the world, they just don't often mesh quite as well together.
Yeah. That's what I was finding. He didn't mesh. Now, if I had some kind of tetra from what are they from Asia, if I had some kind of tetra type of species from that area, I bet they would have done great together. Some kind of small shoaling fish.
Something similar.
I won't touch dwarf gouramis anymore. What a shame that is. What's happening with the dwarf gourami? Actually have an illness named after a species of fish.
Yeah.
I got one of my favorite fish from that particular from the gourami betta group is a paradise fish. I know it's very simple, but I've had them. They're great. They're so hardy. and I was watching these blue ones, and I normally don't like the man-made colored fish, but I kept seeing these beautiful blue paradise fish. Finally, they came in. I was so excited, and I bought one, a male. I brought it home. Sure enough, it got dwarf gourami disease and started breaking out in the middle.
Yeah.
It did just too much inbreeding.
Yeah.
We really need a shot. And I know the biggest problem is that, well, the laws and the regulations are there for a reason, because I could put down that every fish that I write about is in danger of extinction in their habitat, just about, unless it's in the Amazon. But any place over in the Congo, places like that, especially Indonesia, fish, and they have some really cool fish in Indonesia. Fish from over in that area, it always says the same thing. Oh, and all them wild bettas, and those guys there that breed the wild bettas from Thailand, they don't get enough shout out from us. Those guys can breed any kind of betta. I mean, they're incredible. And I know that we might have people that watch this and breed wild bettas and stuff that are just as good. But I mean, this is what those guys do for a living. They instead of going to catch wild bettas, they are breeding them.
Yeah, I just back on the neon dwarf gouramis. I've had to make a conscious decision, which goes against like business logic, but to not carry them because they don't last, and then people come back that their fish died, and I don't want people coming back to my shop because their fish died and they want to replace their fish. I want people coming back because they're loving their hobby. They set up a new tank and they want to try some new fish. So that's.
I wouldn't carry them if I had a pet shop. I wouldn't. I would never buy another dwarf unless I knew it was like an F1 or F2.
Because they are such a beautiful looking fish. They have some gorgeous colors, but it just is what it is.
Natural ones. Oh, I love the natural colored fish. Yeah, it would be great to get just like have someone like you or a breeder or some to get a bunch of fresh F1 fish or wild fish rather, and go to it and just start breeding in the States and in your country and here too, because it's a problem here. Get some new blood into the hobby. It's what we need. We need new fish in the hobby. When I get in the hobby, and I'm sure you, I'm 57. I don't know how old you are.
Not quite 40.
Oh, okay. So when I got into the hobby, fish were the most hardy. You couldn't kill a fish. They were bulletproof. I mean, we had a little square, the square filters that you'd have to, change and all that stuff, and have 2 of those, and that would be it, or the under gravel filters. And I mean, the fish would last for years and years, and you'd take a 15-gallon aquarium, and you would put way too many fish. I mean, if someone saw that now with a pair of kissing gouramis and everything else in there, and they would have a baby. And now fish are just so fragile. And I just know it's from inbreeding, and it's not so much how people are keeping the fish. We didn't even check the parameters. We checked the pH, but that would be it. You'd have to check the pH because the fish it was really important back then. Now fish can almost handle these ones that have been inbred forever, can handle almost any pH, right? And but we never had a nitrites, nitrate, ammonia kit, nothing like that. I don't even think back then we had to like age the water to do water changes. My dad and I would have to think about a water change 2 or 3 days before we even did them.
Filling up buckets and getting them ready.
Huh?
Filling up buckets and having them sitting there for a couple of days ready. Yeah.
Yep, and let them breathe. I do it here sometimes still because I'm old school. I don't have what do they have? Pythons to do water changes. I'm still getting a bucket and siphoning and never get a mouthful. Just have done it so many times that I almost have to watch out that I don't suck a fish up, because I've done it so much, right? I do that. I do it with the piranha twice a week because he's in an aquarium that's too small for him, admittingly. And in this aquarium, I have a water change Sunday. And it's something I look forward to. It's something I enjoy doing. And my dad was like that. We changed the water weekly. And like I said, we put the water. It's good to put it, give them 2 days. I can do it here in 1 day, but it's chancy. I know that they put a lot of stuff in the water, chemicals, and I'm not sure. There's a chemical, I forget what the guy said. I was talking online with someone that they put in the States that you can't get it out of the water. Do you know what that is?
Chloramine?
Yes, yes. And so you can't age that out.
Yeah.
But
Chlorine you can, chloramine you can't.
Chlorine, right?
Yeah, chlorine is ageable.
Chloramine, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll take a shower, and the water box upstairs will fill again right before we take a shower, and it smells just like a pool. It's so filled with. So I try to age the water for more than 5 days, but I got the juice, I call it, and I just use that.
Yeah,
it's amazing, actually. I don't think people realize how amazing that is. If there's any of the new hobbyists watching this right now, you guys got it so good as far as that water change is concerned. There's really like no excuse not to do a water change, And I know that you can put a habitat and an ecosystem. You can get that, so you don't even have to do water changes. You just put RO water in, so the GH is going to be good and all that stuff. But I'm just not from that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. And kudos for whoever's doing that right now, dude or dudette. Wow, you guys really impress me. Like, that is so cool that you can do that. Like, when I see that a post and someone's got discus fish and in cardinals, and they've I haven't done a water change in 10 years or something. I'm just
it blows my mind.
It blows my mind. I couldn't go 2 weeks. I don't think. Well,
yeah. I get a bit scratchy if I haven't done water changes at the back in a while.
Yeah, I think it bothers me more than it bothers the fish. To be honest with you, I go to bed. I'm like, oh man, I didn't do a water change. What happened to the Sunday? All right, it's going to have to be a Monday, I guess. But
Yeah. And a weird twist. I have begun really enjoying doing water changes on my display tanks in the shop.
Yeah.
I enjoy that process. Out the back, we were breeding and we were quarantining. It feels more of a chore.
Yes.
But as soon as you go, cool, we're doing it, the hose goes in, then it just happens. But there's definitely a different mindset between the two, between doing the display aquariums and doing the working aquariums, if you will.
I'd love to see your display aquariums, because that's when I think of a pet shop, owning a pet shop. I've thought of that since I was a kid. That's been my dream. A lot of people's dreams, right? And the first thing I start thinking about is, what would I have for a display aquarium? The prettiest display aquarium I ever saw was a 300-gallon, which is humongous. And all it had was little schooling fish and shoaling fish like I have here, like cardinals and tetras and black tetras and neons and et cetera, like Rasporas, and that's all he had. And then he had some dwarf corridors, and that's it. And that was the most beautiful, and it was heavily planted with the plants in the back. The back was painted black. Everything popped. If I could have any aquarium, like if I won, I finally played I guess they call it mega, with one of those lotto tickets. Saturday, I'll find out. 83 million reals. I don't know what that is in dollars or your currency, but that would be the aquarium that I would build. I would have a 300-gallon aquarium with just small schooling fish, especially the rummy nose. People don't seem to realize rummy nose school the best. They are the tightest schooling fish in the hobby that I've ever seen. Do you have any other names of fish that might do as well as that?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Not that are really, really tight.
Yeah, they follow the leader. I sit there and watch them sometime, and that's my favorite two fish, right? Cardinals and rummy nose. They need to be. They're like peas and carrots. Yeah. Thunder and lightning. They have to go together, right? And I'm just sit there and I wish they were looked just a little bit different, so I could find out who they're following.
Yeah.
And every night watching them scatter eggs is awesome.
Yeah.
People think they're playing, they're fighting, and whatever. No, they're doing what what me and the wife do.
Yeah, they're doing what they're in their order to do, make more of themselves.
Yeah, that's right. That's how these streams, like the one I go to, get so filled with Tetris. I mean, if we ever had a massive catastrophe, God forbid, in the world, I would just go to that stream and I would come home with a bunch of Tetris and we'd have some Tetris soup or something.
There's
something
yeah, maybe little fritters. There's something to be said about big aquariums with small fish and how that fills up a space incredibly well in big numbers.
Yes, definitely. It looks, but where I'm partial to small fish, and anything smaller than basically 5 inches or whatever. I don't even want to fish that big anymore. I think that's why I'm steered towards the cave, the shell dwellers, because they're so tiny. You know, they have a shell dweller in Lake Malawi. It's a Pseudotropheus something, right? Right? There's a million sort of Pseudotropheus, and I'm pretty sure it's the only species that they have that live in shells. I'd kill to have that. I would. Right up in it. It's, I post this right up, and people just don't get it because it doesn't have the flash. I mean, I guess it kind of looks like a zebra a little bit, or the striped ones, because they're so inbred hybrids with the Pseudotropheus now, which is really sad. Like they're striped blue and black, but they're not. The colors aren't really bright, and the male has the egg spots, and they have a bigger shell, and they're like less. I think they're 3 inches long, so they're. Again, for the people
that's a good size shelly.
Do the correct math. Yeah. They're out of the United States. They're like about that big.
Yeah. Wow. That's a decent size shelly. Most of them are a lot smaller than that.
Yeah, I'll post a photograph tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do fish of the day tonight. I was going to do the coolie loach. There's a fish that likes to bury themselves in the substrate.
Yep, and hide in any spot they can.
Just because in any spot, I've done a bunch of fish that no one really has ever seen before, and about every 3 species, every 3 days or every 4 days, I bring out something that people can actually, because at the end I try to have it the same configuration every time, the same format. Fish of the day, brief synopsis of the fish, where the fish is from, and the synopsis, and then at the end I would show me whatever fish I'm doing, whether it's platies or Pseudotropheus zebra, whatever, and then all the photographs show up, which makes it really a lot of fun for the members. Then there's the people that really get into looking at the new fish. So if I put out tonight I'll put out a coolie loach. I already have it wrote up, so all I have to do is just read it over again and run it through the AI to make sure that the punctuation's right. The AI is like having a professional editor. So nice.
Yeah.
It was so hard before. I didn't even know one existed. My son showed me.
Yeah.
But all the content's from me, and a lot of the synonyms are from me. So my vocabulary is pretty good when I write, because I wrote just
putting a bit of the sparkle on top as the AI.
Yes. I always say correct, not too complicated. Because it'll put out something that looks like a doctor wrote it.
Yeah, that's something that I found.
It changes my content of what I want to just have something simple, basic. I mean, it's a little fancy. I know I write a little bit fancy because of the books, but something that reads well and sounds professional, but also has a little fun to it.
Well, that's something that I did find is that reading what you'd written was very simple to read. It was nice and easy, which was good. Yeah.
Oh, I could put that through the AI and say make it as complicated. I almost felt bad when I started using the AI. Then I realized every writer in the world now is using it.
100%.
Yeah.
To one extent or another, every writer is using it.
I had my professional editor go do my book, which is not it's not from fish, obviously. And when it came back, I didn't know she had put it through an AI because I was uneducated about that at the time. And this is just a year ago. And my son recognized it right away. There's certain words that the AI likes and stays drawn to. So I know I'm kind of thinking out loud now about I'm gonna do that. I'll probably do that right up. I'll take a shower because the sweat off me.
Sure.
Do the Cooley Loach. It was one of the first write-ups I did. I have like these 10 write-ups that when it was just, you scroll all through the 330 probably write-ups that I have, and you see some of the first ones that I did. They're very short, and they're nothing like. There was a evolution to the write-ups, and I'm happy with where they are. I think the fish I put out yesterday was just maybe a paragraph too long that people kind of scroll through.
Yeah.
Anybody that writes, you want them to read what you're writing.
Correct.
You know, why do it? The first part, fun part for me, is doing the prep work, the planning work. Okay, I'm going to keep this fish. That's what I'm thinking in my head. What do I need to know? What's the most important basics? Like I said, in the habitat, right? And then the second thing I think about, okay, are people going to read this, or did I just put too much information from Maidenhead Aquatics? Another thing, people wonder where I get my pictures from. I always get my pictures from breeders. I figure if you want that fish, and I bet you they ought to give me like a percentage. They're going to go find that. They're going to find that photograph in Google, and they're going to see the breeder that I got it from. And although I've been given the okays from some of the guys that take photos to use their pictures, I just haven't done it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this is probably a good time to call it an evening or a morning for me. So thank you very much for being on with us. We like to finish our Phonetics Friday coffee dates with what we call a school of six. So it's 6 very short questions. They're not meant to put you on the spot in any which way or form, but we'll see how we go. So the first one is, are you a tea or a coffee drinker? I think we've kind of touched this already.
It would definitely be iced tea.
Cool, that'll work.
Yeah.
Are we alone in the world? Or in the universe, sorry. Are we alone in the universe?
No.
Cool.
I'm a very religious guy, I guess you would call me. Yeah.
If you could have a meal with anybody, whether they're alive, dead, or a fictional character at any point in time, who would that be?
Oh, that's easy. Jesus.
Fair. If you're doing a coin toss, heads or tails?
Tails.
Tails never fails.
Does that mean something that I said that? Tails?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, true.
I'll ask my son. He's studying to be a psychologist.
Cool. Paper, scissors, rocks. What's your first move?
Oh, I almost forget that game. Paper, scissors. 2. I guess it would be 2 fingers. But I forget how the game is played but that's a universal game, I guess. I hadn't really thought about it. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Yep. And my last question is, what is your unicorn fish? This could be one that you want to see in an adventure somewhere, one in your aquarium, one you want to spawn, one you maybe want to write about.
That would be because of the time with my dad, and I try not to get a little emotional. The first time we walked into that pet shop and I saw the jawfish digging a hole.
Cool. That
to me is something I always remember. He was holding my hand. I can remember looking up because I was so tiny, and watching. It was just a yellow-headed jawfish. I know there's some prettier ones, and that's my fish right there. That's it for me. And number one, I like the idea, real quick, of if I'm a fish, I'm gonna live in a hole. I love SpongeBob. I want like what's the name of the squirrel? Sandy. I want her place, or I want a pineapple to live in.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I want a cave. That's why another reason why I like cichlids and shell dwellers, because they live in a place that's protected.
Live in their own little cave.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much again for being with us today. If you've not checked out John's articles and blogs, go check them out. They're well worth the read, well worth subscribing and following to his Facebook page. Some fantastic information and some really cool stuff to read. So thank you for the work that you do for the hobby, and thank you very much for coming on for a couple of hours with us.
It's much a pleasure meeting you. Oh, I have one question, just real quick. That picture that you have on your Facebook, is that from you from the 80s?
No, that's Mick Hucknall from Simply Read.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I'm like, at first I thought it was a spammer or something. Okay.
No, I look a little bit. Yeah.
You've got the mullet going down here, so I had that. So I think we all did. All right, I have no idea how to shut this off, so
I'll do that at this end. So yeah, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for watching and joining us. It's much appreciated. Hope you have a really good evening.
That you can add to the fish of the day, please, and anyone who is listening to me right now, add to it. I want to hear your input. I really do. It means a lot to me, and not just I don't care about having a big Facebook group. I only have like 120 people or whatever. It's more about, I want to know about more about that species. I wouldn't even be doing this if I didn't want to know about it. So there you go. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you much, everybody. Have a good one, team. Catch you later.